Okay, so this is the final strategy I'm going to present to you today, and it's probably the simplest, not necessarily the easiest, but certainly the easiest to explain. So this is the strategy that I use most commonly, and I just call it information dumping. So information dumping is where you just basically open up a new document and you start writing everything you know about that topic. And you can tell yourself a story. um, and you just keep writing. Basically, the goal is to kind of just sit down and maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You can set a timer. Write as much as you can think of about the topic. It doesn't need to be structured. It doesn't need to follow any particularly clear rules of quote unquote good writing. Um, it doesn't need to be good. Like the lesson of Anne Lamott's Shitty First Drafts is that the goal here is just to get started writing. It is not to write beautiful flowing prose that you immediately want to send out into the public. You simply start writing knowing that what you write is probably never going to be seen by any other human being. Okay, so relish that freedom. So you can see that I've got a split screen here. And on the left hand, I have my info dump document where I'm just writing everything I know. Okay. And over here in this side, is where I have what's going to hopefully wind up becoming my real draft. And I don't actually necessarily start this way. Usually I'm just in this document at the start and I'm just writing and writing and writing and writing until I have a few pages. And then I begin taking the stuff that is useful and copying and pasting it over into the actual draft. That's it. That's the method. Again, not very fancy, but often very useful. So this type of method works very well, again, for people who aren't highly organized thinkers at the very beginning of a project, where everything is just kind of a muddle in your head and you're just trying to figure out how to give it some structure, how to give it some coherence. Just beginning by getting everything that you know out onto the screen, onto the kind of metaphorical piece of paper here, can be really helpful because from there you can again begin manipulating it, deleting things, cutting and pasting stuff, changing the order, all of that, all the stuff you do. Where it becomes difficult is if you are the type of person who sort of measures your daily writing accomplishments in the number of words that you have managed to get onto the page, then this is going to be a discouraging thing for you because the amount that you write over here doesn't necessarily translate into documents over here in your draft. Okay, I can write for 5 pages to maybe get 1 page of really usable material, really useful text over here. Sometimes that's just how it works. Okay, when I am working on a writing project, I'm usually working in several documents where I'll have kind of this rough document, and then I'll have draft one, then I'll have draft two, draft three, draft four, draft five, etc. And then I'll have several documents full just of stuff that I have cut out because I can't from previous drafts because I don't really feel like I have any use for it, but I'm also not willing to just delete it. I don't want to see it completely erased from the universe. And so I put it in its own separate draft and so that I can keep track of it and go back to it if I decide I want to use it. If you're the type of person who has difficulty letting go of stuff once you've written it, taking it and putting it in a different document and saving that under a different name can be helpful. But this method can be really painful if you're that type of person who, once you've written something, you have a hard time deleting it. But that is just the life of a writer, I'm afraid. If you, no matter what kind of writing you're doing, if you do any kind of writing in your profession, you're going to be doing a lot of deleting, as a lot of getting rid of stuff that you wish you didn't have to get rid of, and a lot of seeing your word count go back down even after you feel like you've gotten a whole lot done on a particular day. Um, so where to go from here. So what I want you to do for your assignment essentially this week is just try. Pick one of these three methods that I have talked about, and for maybe 20 minutes, just give it a try and see what works. The goal here is just for you to begin making a start at major essay one, not for you to finish it in all in one sitting, not even for you to walk away with something that necessarily becomes the final draft, but just to get started, just to get something onto the page. So I want you to try that for about 20 minutes and then go to the discussion board thread and talk about what you did. Talk about what works for you and what doesn't. And I think it's entirely possible that some of you have some different methods, some different ways of getting started with a writing project. So if you do, or if you have some innovations on the methods that I have talked about here, then please share them because they will likely be very helpful to many of your fellow students who just, again, need help getting some words onto the screen. Good luck.